Welcome everybody. This is Beverly again from Hewlett Strategic Services, and thank you for following us. We've been tackling different topics and subjects that we think are relevant to our community and our clients, and we have invited on our program so far those persons we believe who can provide us with expert advice, and they know a lot about the topic more than we do. And so we're educating our customers. Today, I have as my guest, Andrea Grant. Hi, welcome, Andrea.
Hi, Bev. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And you know where Andrea is, my audience? She is in Germany. That's where she is. It's actually about 8:25 now in Germany. And we are so happy that she has agreed to talk to us today about being agile as we pivot and change, which I think is a relevant topic today. Now, she's a Jamaican. I think she really lives here though, you know, but she happens to be in Germany.
You're so right, Bev, because right now in the virtual space, I'm so well connected to my Jamaican friends and family there.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for agreeing to talk to Helene today on our Mastermind series. Now, today, as we talk about the topic, being agile as we pivot and change, Andrea brings to us a lot of experience. She is a CEO of Framework Projects. And what that means is that she looks at project management training and coaching as she helps customers to pivot and change their business processes in the digital era. Now, what a piece of alignment, Andrea. You could not have been more aligned for today.
I can tell you, I've been in the space there for so many years, you know. Yes. So it's quite a bit of preparation work that has been going on. And believe me, I mean, agility has been my passion since, in fact, I started on the journey of agility in 2014.
Oh,
long time.
Really?
And yes, in fact, I started because I kind of discovered it. Right? Yes. I worked as a consultant at the time. And I had a chief operating officer at the time who was very much aligned to the agile mindset. He was very results oriented. He wanted to get, you know, the value out of the project. And he said, you know, Andrea, please bring me some deliverables early in the project. I want to get that return on investment.
Okay.
And that's when I pivoted and found and discovered this new way of working.
Yes.
It's really not so new because the Agile Manifesto came out in 2001.
Yes.
But for some organizations, it's still a new concept.
Right. Thank you for that intro. Yes, thank you so much. But, you know, as we talk to our audience and kind of help them to understand why are we talking about being agile in this moment. So the circumstance, the pandemic, has kind of entrusted all of us into a different space, whether you're an individual or you're an organization. And we've all had to change. Whatever it is, we are going through change. And based on the space that you come from, where agile really means that you break down the thing in small phases and tasks, and you deliver and you assess and adjust as you go along. And I couldn't find anything more relevant. So Andrea is going to talk to us today about what it means to be agile and why it is relevant now. She's going to help us to understand the agile mindset. Also, being agile requires a shift in organizational culture and creating lean processes that deliver great customer experience. So at the end of it all, we are always trying to deliver great customer experience because that's what businesses exist to do. So Andrea, welcome again and thank you for joining us and help us to understand what it really means about, you know, agile mindset. What is that really?
Bev, thank you again for having me. And it's really my pleasure to talk about a topic that I have been so passionate about for so many years, agility.
Yes.
And what does it really mean and how relevant it is now, even more than before. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about how to adjust to the degree of uncertainties that we're experiencing in the marketplace.
It's how really to adjust to the degree of uncertainty in the marketplace. I like the way you put that.
Yeah, the only thing that we know that's constant is change. And so we need to find a way of managing this constant change that we're experiencing. Now, many organizations, they are really, in the panic mode. And we are finding different ways of trying to adjust to this new market conditions.
Mm-hmm.
We're finding technological tools, we're implementing new software, but we're still not getting to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that approach can actually kill your budget. And if we're not careful, if we don't have an agile mindset or an agile framework that's going to help us to get through this crisis,
yes,
we may find that we are actually creating more complications in our processes.
Okay, so, all right. Mm-hmm.
With agility, we're talking about how can we find a way to balance constant change and still create some level of stability for the organization as we try to deliver value to our customers.
Wow, that's powerful. Right, so as we change, how we make that change and still have the stability and deliver to our customers.
Excellent, yes. That's exactly what we want to do. So in the uncertainties that are happening in the environment, we need to find a way that we can still create that structure that will give us that level of stability, that we can actually perform as a team and still deliver that value that the customer really needs and wants.
Okay.
And how to
go ahead.
How to do this in the shortest possible time, the shortest possible sustainable time for our customers and our teams.
Okay. That is just, you've said so many things. It's short, but you've said so many things power-packed in that description. Because what you're saying is that there's a lot of change going on. It's times of uncertainty. We still need to deliver to our customers, but we want to be able to deliver it in ways that still make us stable. We still have stability and keep us grounded and give our customer the kind of experience that they expect. And you're saying it's the agile mindset that will help us to do that.
And more importantly is not only do we want to deliver value to the customer in the shortest sustainable time, but in the turbulent situations that we're experiencing now, we also want to remain profitable.
Yes.
And so it is also critically important that we find this mindset, this agile approach of working, which talks about how to deliver value to the customers, how to engage our team members, how to engage business people and developers so that they can work together daily throughout that project, how to give that incremental value add to our customers, not necessarily the complete product, but we're looking at incrementally delivering value to our customers so that they can actually start seeing that value early in the project.
Okay, so would you say that an adoption of the agile mindset is going to be needed so much more now in this reset economy?
Definitely, Bev. In fact, I am not seeing it possible any other way at this point. Once upon a time, agility was only something that was nice to have for some organizations, but now it is inevitable.
Okay,
we cannot avoid it. Otherwise, we will not be able to sustain, because again, it's about how to manage changes in a turbulent business environment.
Okay.
And this is exactly what we're experiencing now.
All right. Thank you, Andrea, for that. So what do you mean when you say it requires a cultural shift to be able to adopt and embrace agility?
Well, there are several things that are really embedded in the agile mindset. Again, it's really just a mindset, a different way, a different approach to the way how we are working. That's going to give us that value add. One, we're not delivering the entire potato at the end of the project. Why not start delivering smaller potatoes, baking smaller potatoes, so we can actually start seeing the value add? What about the processes that we're actually implementing? Are these processes so heavy that our teams cannot really function in them? How do we make the process so light, so lean, that the team members can adjust and adapt? In fact, as team members are working remotely, also need to review the internal business processes that we have had for the organization, because remote working and face-to-face in an office is not necessarily the same.
Okay.
There are quite a bit of processes internally for our business as well, from the operational side, as well as from the project side, that we have to review and review quickly, so that we can actually start focusing on value creation.
Okay.
Organizational structures tend not to focus so much on value. They tend to focus more on processes and procedures. This is going to be a great organizational shift.
But hold on, Andrea, you can't just say that and move on like that. Yeah. What do you mean when you say organizations structure don't necessarily focus on value, but focus on process and procedures? Break that down for us. What do you mean by that?
Okay, wonderful point, Bev. When we say that organizations tend to be focused on value, on processes, organizations are usually structured in departments.
Yes.
The departmental structure is one that we call in Agile a silo. So you're functioning in silos, which is not necessarily focused on cost, is not necessarily customer centric.
Okay.
So what we find is many times, if the organization is structured in departments, you have the sales department, marketing department, IT department, and so on, it's not necessarily structured so that they can respond quickly to the needs of their customers.
Okay.
And so one aspect of agility talks about cross-functional teams. Here we are talking about building a team, and you can think of it in parallel to your existing organizational structure, where team members are creating a cross-functional team. Someone from a representative from the various units are coming together to form one team.
Okay, so you are saying that it's not that we don't need the departments. What you're saying is that we ought to be organized departmentally and cross-functional and matrix team, so that we deliver value to the customer.
Wonderful. So we have an organizational structure that's still in place for giving us that stability, but we also need to form another organization, an agile unit that is really focused on value creation for our customers.
Okay, so tell me then, what are some of the things this cross-functional agile team, what would be some of their priorities, for example? So I have in my organization, we already have our functional units, and then I set up a cross-functional agile team. What would be some of their priorities?
Wonderful question, Bev, because the agile team, the focus of the agile team will be very different from that of the organizational departmental structure. Departmental structures tend to be focused on specific matrix relating maybe to a sales target, or maybe related to an IT department will have their own matrix. For the agile team, our focus is on customers and the value creation of what is going to be important to the customers in terms of pivoting, responding to their changes. So
okay.
The focal point is going to be, in fact, very different from both perspectives.
Okay. So I'm understanding you probably to be saying, because I think I've experienced this already in a particular organization. And so what you're saying is that the departments exist, but if we have to change our business process or launch a product or implement something new, this particular agile team would ensure that each of those functional units are delivering the way they're supposed to, together, being interdependent on each other, and delivering the final value for the customer.
Exactly.
And so they won't be thinking independently of what they bring to the table, but they're thinking about the outcomes for the customer, which means that we all have to align and work together. It seems
excellent. Excellent. So very often in traditional organizational structures, you will find that a department would like to do something, but they cannot do it without the help of. So for example, a marketing team may want to do something. They will need to get that product out the door, but they can't do it alone. They need help from the IT department. They need help from sales. And so what you find is that sometimes that is what is actually slowing down our processes. Not so lean, not very efficient.
Okay.
And so what we're trying to do is to create the fastest return on investment and in terms of efficiency within the organization. How do we get value creation in the shortest possible time?
Okay.
Something
and so we're not sitting and waiting until the entire thing is complete before it starts delivering value that we can sell or earn from.
Exactly. And in this time or of this crisis, I mean, who knows what the product really is going to be looking like for the end customer.
Yes,
we don't know so what we have to do, we have to now get into that mode or that frame of mind where we are constantly getting feedback. So we go to the market with our new product, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the product that will actually add that value or meet the needs of the customer. So what we have to do is always be in that frame of mind where once we have delivered value to our customer, we wait for that feedback, and the team, that cross-functional team, is ready to pivot and to make the necessary changes.
Yes, right.
Because what you really want to do is you want to be in the market, but you need to be there first.
Yes.
You can create that product and bring that value to the customer first, will be the winner in this market space.
Okay, absolutely. I love this conversation actually, because I can see how our audience, and I'm sure it's familiar to many people, but then there are those who, not so familiar with this. It's the thinking rather than the doing. And so if you think it through like that, then you obviously will have a faster delivery, a better product, and people who are working together and working much closer in the interest of the customer.
Exactly. So, what I'm really trying to help us to do is to save that budget, to save the time, and to lower the risk of failure of the project.
Right.
Because many times we create a product, we bring it to the marketplace, it adds no value to the customer, it's too late. We have already, the millions of dollars went down the drain, and there is no chance of recovering from that.
Okay.
So what we're really trying to do is to find ways to become so efficient, so much more efficient, and so much better at how we're managing our resources that success is almost inevitable.
Okay. Do you have an example for us? Because we talk about being agile in the digital era or through digital transformation. Do you have any simple, easy example that we can relate to?
Well, I mean, I always use this example. It's not a digital example, but I think it's one that people can relate to. Once I remember I had my sofa chair that needed to be repaired. And I remember, the carpenter came and said to me, well, yes, I can do this, and I will return it to you next week. And I said, okay, great. I'm happy about that. He's going to take only 1 week to give me my product, which is the sofa. And he said, he promised me Friday, and Friday came and he knocked on the door and he came in and he brought the sofa in, and I was excited. I said, well, he said Friday and it's here. But he brought in the sofa, Bev, and he brought in the cushions for the seating. But he didn't bring the cushions for the back of the sofa were missing.
Okay.
I said, but you brought in just, a part of the sofa. And he said to me, well, I promised you that you will have it by Friday, and I didn't want to disappoint you, so I brought what I had. And I said to him, but no, how will this? I was in complete shock. I just didn't know what to say. And he said to me, on Monday, I will bring the cushions for the back. And I stood there and I looked at the sofa, the half-done sofa, and I thought, but what can I do? On Friday, I turned on my TV in the evening, and I'm now sitting in the sofa, and I'm thinking, well, wow, this is nice. I like it. And I'm lying in the sofa. No, I'm watching the news. I'm lying in the sofa, and I'm
without
thinking,
the back.
Without the back. And now I'm now thinking, oh, well, if it feels this good without the, can you imagine when he brings the cushions for the back of the sofa? And he was being very agile. I was not, because he realized that as a customer, I could have gotten some value out of the sofa as it was. And he knew that that was incremental value delivery.
Yes, yes.
And so sometimes we're waiting until we have that perfect product. And that's not necessarily what is going to give that incremental value to our customers. We don't have to wait until the end. We have to help our customers educate, guide the customer into saying, can I show you what I have? So one of the things is, you know, we have these contracts and agreements with our customers. Yes, okay, the product will be ready in 6 weeks, but it doesn't mean that we have to do it in 6 weeks, everything. No, we can also have that dialogue with the customer. Can I show you something in the first week? It will not be the product.
Right.
Get that feedback and improve on it as we go through the entire project or site.
Yeah.
And change. Engage our customers. Become more, have a conversation with the customer. Guide the customer. We have this term in Agile, I don't know it until I see it. So it's important that we become so comfortable with the customer that we can show them unfinished work.
Okay. So like you could be a part of my sales training team, you know, Andrea.
Oh, it's the same concept. We're talking. So it's something that is relating to all areas of the organization. We all have to be on the same page with this. Sales has to be on the same page, because sales, you're the ones who are having the conversation with the customer.
Yes.
And sales need to feed this back to the team.
Yes. I've worked on an integrated marketing team. Maybe it was an agile team, we just didn't call it agile. Now that I'm thinking about it, because on that team, you had marketing, sales, HR, product development, inventory, finance, call center. We were in the room.
This is what we need.
When we took the strategic budget and we said, hey guys, we have these 3 projects we need to roll out in 3 months. So when marketing said they want this, I am there and I'm saying, oh no, I don't think so. Or if you want that, you need to do Y. Or inventory said, no, babe, you cannot sell so many things because we don't have the budget to buy the inventory. And the finance person says, okay, then does it make sense? Return on investment? How quickly? And then you say, oh, can you give us some more? And they say, well, if I give you more, you need to deliver X. And call center, retail stores, can you deliver what we're talking about? And everything gets fleshed out in that room. And the communications person gets it. They get the message. So when they start communicating, then they don't have to come back to me and ask, what did you mean when you say no? Because they got it. I think we had an agile team, know that you.
Of course, that is an agile team, because what is the complaint normally? Sales is selling things that we can't deliver. We don't want to have that discussion. We don't want to have that problem, because that's a common problem, right?
Yes.
Especially now, I can just imagine we're working in silos. Sales has no idea what's happening in marketing, and marketing has no idea.
That's the latest, by the way,
That's the point. This is the point we're making. Exactly.
Yes, I've experienced that. And so marketing develop stuff in a silo sometimes, or barely getting the periphery from the salespeople. And whatever they put together, the salespeople find it challenging to communicate. They can't sell the value. They don't understand the messaging because it didn't come from the right, space or designed in the right way. I think this is so relevant now. But the last thing I want to look at, Andrea, as you've done so well for us so far, the last thing we want to look at is creating lean processes that deliver great customer experience. Would you like to expound on that for us?
Yeah, well, I would just say lean in this context means reducing waste. And what you really want to do is you want to create the process so that there is a constant flow of work. You don't want any waiting time in your process, which means what? You want to know that whatever is being developed is not waiting for sign off, a contract sign off, that's a waiting time in your process. Do you know, Bev, that if you should measure your process from beginning to end, any process, whether it be your sales process, your marketing, whatever process, you measure it from beginning to end. Do you know that if you should measure that process, 50% of that processing time is actually waiting for a response by an email, waiting for somebody to sign off on a document, waiting for somebody to do something. Now, we want to make the processes lean. We want to eliminate waiting time.
Okay. And how do you do that, though?
How do you do that? We need to ask ourselves the question, why? Why do we have these large gaps of waiting time? Now, there are many reasons. Now, for example, if you're waiting for a document to get signed off, well, it could be several things, which one of the common things is the person who needs to sign off on the document don't understand what's in the document, especially if it's a technical document.
Yes.
We need to find ways of bridging that gap. It could also be that the resource is not available. Whatever the reasons are, we need to map our processes and discover what's really costing us time, which is really translating to budget. What's eating up our budget? We have to try to eliminate those waiting times in the process.
Okay, right. Which is I'm understanding you probably to be saying that is another way of looking at the processes and see if they still make sense. Do they make sense to how we want to deliver to the customer? And because what I find is that, you know how organizations are, right? We develop a process to solve a problem or something is happening and somebody says, let's put that in place. And it stays there for years, 10 years, 5 years, 15 years. We're still doing it and nobody has any plausible reason as to why this process is still in place, especially as it comes to the customer. I had a client who actually went through the entire process and questioned the processes and said, why do we need this? Why are we doing it?
Beautiful way. Excellent. Beautiful way to uncover.
Is it for compliance reasons? Why do we? And if they put it through the test and they couldn't come up with a valid reason, they eliminated the process and ensure that the outcome that they're seeking to achieve is still being achieved, and take that extra work and extra gap out for the customer. And the customers were so happy.
There you go, Bev. It's an excellent opportunity for us now to reflect on the way how we have been working in the past, because it might not serve us well for the future.
No.
And we may even realize, no, as you said, and it's really so, that many organizations, we have had these processes, they came up. I don't know if you know that story about the mother who was baking in two pans.
Okay.
She was baking the turkey, right? Every Christmas, she had the ham and she was cutting it in half and she was putting it in 2 pans. So her daughter asked her the question, Mama, why do you always, every Christmas, cut the turkey or the ham in 2 and put it in 2 separate pans to put it in the oven? And she says, I don't know, my mother did it and that's why I'm doing it. And she in turn asked her grandmother, the daughter asked the grandmother, Grandma, why did you do it? And she said, well, I only did it because at the time the ham was too big for 1 pot. So I just cut it once into 2. I just cut it so that it could hold in 2, so that I could bake at the same time.
Right.
But we have to today.
But never thought about it. You know, Andrea, I think you just addressed something a while ago. There are oftentimes in organizations or businesses that we've always done it this way. Is that come on? We've always done it. Why change it? If it's not broken, don't change it.
Beautiful. That's it. That's always the mantra. Yes. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Leave it just as it is, right?
Yes,
Why should we? So we need to get to the stage, where we kind of start asking these questions, the why questions, because it gets to the root cause. So root cause analysis is extremely important. Ask why 5 times.
But I tell you, it sounds like sales every time you talk about them things, you know. Because why is the bane of a customer, of a sales conversation, right? But Andrea, you've really shared a lot, food for thought today. Quite a bit of nuggets in terms of how we shift our mindset. And as we talk about mindset and agility, I think the entrepreneurial journey and the adoption of this kind of mindset, or some of it, is important. Because I've been through it myself. We're waiting for perfection. And as I gather, perfection is the enemy of good. And waiting on things that are shiny, and we have everything ironed out and properly thought through before we can implement or even test or sell it. Would you say that it would be recommended for entrepreneurs to adopt an agile mindset as well?
Definitely, Bev, especially for the entrepreneurs.
Yes.
In that space, it is the only chance we have.
Yes.
Because we cannot create a perfect product. In fact, what we're trying to do is deliver value. We're not trying to create a perfect product. We're trying to give somebody something that they need, that they find value in.
Right.
And so from the entrepreneurial perspective, we have to also look at what they call the lean startup concept.
Lean startup
concept. We're looking at delivering value to the customer or to the market, and we are creating that MVP, minimum valuable product. I don't know, from an entrepreneurial perspective, we have ideas that we need to bring to the marketplace.
Yes.
But how do we test these ideas? How do we ensure that the ideas that we are delivering is actually in alignment to the needs of the customer? Because sometimes our ideas are flawed with assumptions.
Yes.
As
no
entrepreneurs.
Yes.
No research, and in fact there is no basis for research either, because if you're bringing a new product to the marketplace, what are the chances that you have market data that's going to help you with research?
Okay.
So
all right.
Most of the time, so from an entrepreneurial perspective, especially if you're bringing innovative, creative products to the market, never been launched before, we need to find ways to actually pivot and test in the shortest possible time, and to reflect and get feedback to test our assumptions. Because in the entrepreneurial journey, in the entrepreneurial journey, it's filled with assumptions, right? Sometimes the product will eventually make it to the market is not really where we started.
Yes.
You have to be very open for change.
I can see how the agile mindset kind of aligns so well with those of us in the entrepreneurial space, because what you're saying is you need the minimum, what is it, MVP, the minimum
minimum viable product. Minimum viable product.
So we need the minimum viable product. Right? And sometimes in the absence of research, then we go with assumptions sometimes, and we develop with what we know, we test it, we tweak, we make the adjustments as we go along, because what we're trying to do is kind of meet the customer where they require the service. Boy, Angela, we could talk all day about this. I actually love this topic.
Yes,
all right.
It's quite relevant now. But thanks, Bev. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Again, Andrea Grant is the CEO of Framework Projects. She looks at project management, training, and coaching, and just trying to help her customers to pivot and change as they implement new business processes. Now, Andrea is doing something very exciting. She's giving back. And what she's done, she's had some free training, 3-hour training, where you can actually go on and get your certification. She's doing that now. Check her out on LinkedIn. She's very active on LinkedIn. And you can send her an email, and you can probably be the lucky person to get one of these free training. And she offers training online, so follow her. And so as your organization seek to change and look at its business processes, Andrea would be a good resource for you. Well, thank you, Andrea. I'm Beverly, Helene Strategic Services, another guest in our Helene Mastermind series. Now, look out for us. We have others coming. We're particularly kind of focusing our attention around business development and sales, entrepreneurship, strategy, and leadership. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.